Hello and welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be discussing what I read in 2025, and I'll be giving brief synopses of each book. Let's get started. I started my year off rereading the Cirque du Freak series by Darren Shan. This used to be my childhood favorite series, and I decided to revisit it as an adult to see if it withstood the test of time. This is a 12-part series, and it revolves around a child named Darren who becomes a vampire and joins a freak show. Next is Aesop's Fables by Aesop. This is a collection of short stories that basically give you life lessons. Next is Reckless Girls by Rachel Hawkins. This is a thriller novel about a girl who goes to an island, more or less. We have the Lore Olympus series by Rachel Smythe. This is a 9-part graphic novel series, which is a retelling of the love story between Hades and Persephone. Next is Egghead by Bo Burnham. This is a poetry book by my favorite comedian. Next is The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. This is a retelling of the Trojan War through the perspective of Patroclus. Then we have Neon Gods by Katie Robert. This is a smut book between Hades and Persephone. We have Electric Idol by Katie Robert. This is a smut book between Eros and Psyche. Next is The Yellow Wallpaper by Charlotte Perkins Gilman. This is a short story about a woman's mental health deteriorating after she had a baby. Next, I have Divine Dicks and Mortal Pricks by Walburga Appleseed. This is a feminist retelling of Greek myths, and it is a comedy book. Next, we have A Touch of Darkness by Scarlett St. Clair. This is another smut book between Hades and Persephone. Next is Somna by Becky Cloonan. This is a graphic novel about a woman who falls in love with her sleep paralysis demon. Next, we have Hell Followed With Us by Andrew Joseph White. This follows a trans main character in a religious cult after an apocalyptic thing occurred, where he essentially is becoming a seraph. Next, we have The Blue Road by Wade Compton. This is a graphic novel exploring the concepts of migration. Then I have the illustrated edition of Mythos by Stephen Fry, which is essentially your dictionary of all things Greek myths. Next, we have Brainworms by Alison Rumfitt. You could consider this a splatterpunk or an extreme horror novel, and it's about two different characters with two very specific kind of kinks. And there's not really much else I can say about this, but you will never see worms ever again the same way if you read this. Next, I have The Interview with the Vampire by Anne Rice. This is a story about a man named Louis who becomes a vampire and basically just shares his life in an interview with a human. Next, I read No Longer Human by Osamu Dazai. This is about a man who really struggles to feel like he fits in with the people around him. Next, I have Tender is the Flesh by Augustina Bazterrica. This is a novel about a man named Marcos who works in a plant that breeds human beings for meat because all of the humans on planet Earth are no longer safe to consume. So, this novel is really good, by the way. Next, we have I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy. This is a memoir of Jeanette's abuse and her eating disorder that she developed because of her upbringing from her mother and the effects of being a child star. We have A Child Called It by Dave Peltzer. This is another memoir of a person who experienced abuse through the hands of his parents. Next, we have Before the Devil Knows You're Here by Autumn Krause. This is the story of a woman who is basically trying to rescue her kidnapped brother from a sap monster. We have The Neurodivergent Skills Workbook for Autism and ADHD by Jennifer Kemp. This is a self-help book that gives practical advice for how to manage ADHD. We have Come Closer by Sarah Gran, and this is a book about a woman who gets possessed by a demon. We have A Thousand Ships by Natalie Haynes, and this is a collection of different stories through the perspective of the women affected by the Trojan War. Next, we have Pet Sematary by Stephen King. This is about a cemetery that can bring things back to life. Next, I read the Maximum Ride manga series, which is a 9-part series about these children that are essentially used as lab rats to become bird hybrids. Next, we have Angels Before Man by Raphael Nicholas. This is a queer retelling of the fall of Lucifer. Next, we have The Odyssey by Gareth Hines. This is a graphic novel that tells the story of King Odysseus and his return to Ithaca. Next, we have The House of My Mother by Sherry Frankie. This is a true story of a woman experiencing abuse through the hands of her mother and what it was like growing up as a child star on YouTube. Next, we have The Unworthy by Augustina Bezterrica. This is a novel about a post-apocalyptic world where a group of religious fanatics lives in a secluded area and the letters of one of the people in that cult. Next is The Eyes Are the Best Part by Monica Kim. This follows the story of a character who very weirdly starts becoming obsessed with eyes. Next is A Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibson. This is a queer retelling of Dracula through the perspective of his first bride. Next, we have Bunny by Mona Awad. This is a story about a girl named Samantha who essentially finds herself in more or less a cult of women. Next is Don't Let the Forest In by C.J. Drews. One of the characters' drawings ends up coming to life, and it's basically the story of the two boys battling the monsters that come alive because of these drawings. Next is Are You Mad at Me by Meg Josephson. This is a self-help book about basically people-pleasing. Next is The Silent Patient by Alex McCallids, and this is a story of a patient who does not speak and the psychiatrist trying to figure out why she murdered her husband. Next, we have Unmasking Autism by Devin Price. This is a self-help book that discusses masking in autism. And lastly, we have Given by Amy Penza, and this is a male on female smut book about a character named Given who is essentially sold off to the enemy. Thank you so much for coming on this journey with me while I discussed the books that I read in 2025. 2025 was definitely the year where I just kind of read whatever and was still trying to figure out what kind of books I even liked, so it was a bit all over the place. 2026 has been that way too, but I'm definitely a lot more established in what I tend to like to read now. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!